Hey, 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 everybody. Hello. Happy Valentine's Day to each and every last one of you. Today is Wednesday, that famous day where everybody has got love is in the air. They are talking to folks and proposing to folks and doing all kind of grown folks type stuff and having an absolutely fantastic day. I pray that today's Valentine's Day is great and I'm just so happy that this is that day. I will say this though, next year before this year ends, I'm going to have a very special Valentine's, um, and we'll be talking more about that. So stay tuned. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Listen, this is Dr. Lakita. I'm your host for I Speak Life, and I was debating on whether or not to come on here because on Valentine's Day people do different types of stuff. Some people stay in the bed longer. Some people go to work. Some people don't make a big deal out of it. Some of them have breakfast in the bed, or they go out of town, or whatever the case may be. And but I just thought, for those of you that may not have a special Valentine's Day, we just wanted to give you a virtual hug and just let you know you are well loved. We pray that you feel well loved, and not just by us, but also by people that are around you. Love is such a powerful thing. It is such a powerful thing. And I have learned in all of my love dealings that love is just, it's beautiful, it's exotic, it's exciting. Love can be exhausting, but love has always been, at least for me, very rewarding. So shout out to all of you who are having a great day. I pray for those who are making ways to propose. So brothers that are proposing to your girls on today, God bless you. May the power and the presence of God be with you. May you find what you are looking for in all of your endeavors. And we are just giving you guys great, great shout outs on today. Um, we are happy to be able to connect with you guys, and we're going to give you guys a few moments as we share this broadcast with folks. Definitely go ahead and share it with people if you be so kind to do so, and let us know where you are from. I listen. I know we somebody said, "Oh no, I'll still be in the bed." You know, I won't be getting out the bed and all of that good stuff. And I'm with it. I am so with it. Get your chocolates, get your whatever else stuff you get, chocolates, breakfast in the bed, lunch in the bed, whatever it is that you want to do. It's a great time to show folks how much you love them. I'm hoping that you're showing people that you love them throughout the entirety of the year. But in the case that you are not, may today be a special day, because sometimes, families, husbands, wives, they get busy, and not able to show, how they feel about one another. So hopefully you're taking that time to do so, and being able to bless someone that you say that you love. So do me the biggest favor, and why don't you go ahead and share today? We're going to talk about an interesting topic that I think relates in some way to love and the power of love, but it goes a little bit beyond it. Today we're going to talk a little bit about trauma beyond the smile. I want to talk a little bit about the trauma that's happening in people's lives beyond the smile. Everybody's smiling. We're all smiling, right? But it doesn't mean that we're all doing well. And my specific desire, mission, call, I believe, is to help people to become well. I'm a mental health strategist, a coach, a therapist, but I like to help people, places, and things to strategize how to be well. And as an ordained licensed minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I have come to realize that you cannot be well if trauma is got you, laden down, right? And shout out to all of those of you who are on I Speak Live today. This is definitely an I Speak Live that you want to be a part of. particularly because I have something to share that the Lord gave me last night on my way coming home from corporate prayer last night. And you know, when God gives you certain things, it's just always timely. So we're going to be talking about trauma beyond the smile. And we're going to be talking about why you and I must heal from our trauma so we can hear God. Does that make sense? We need to heal from the trauma so we can hear God clearly, get the instructions, obey, and then be blessed. So do me the biggest favor. Go ahead and share it with about 1,000 folks. I'm going to go ahead and share right now. So if you give me the moments to do that, I'm going to share right now. It's going to be an awesome, awesome, I'm telling you, not kidding. It's going to be an awesome, awesome time. So I'm going to share with about 1,000 folks or more. Yes. And I hope you guys are having a great, great, great day. Let me ask you, let's see if anybody will be honest. Anybody feeling sad that they don't have a Valentine's this year? I think last year I felt sad. I think last year I felt sad that I didn't have like an actual Valentine's dating somebody last year. But I think last year I felt a little sad. Anybody feel sad? And you know, be honest. You know, we be lying about so many different things. Anybody feel sad that they don't have a Valentine's person in their life to celebrate with? Just let us know in the chat. Or you feel good? Or anybody feel okay? You don't feel bad or indifferent? Let us know that as well. All right. And to those of you who are on our YouTube, blessings to each and every last one of you for hanging out with us. We are definitely gaining traction on that YouTube page. So if you have not visited our YouTube page and subscribe to it, Live with Lakita, we're going to be starting to do a little bit more stuff in the month of March there. That's on the live level, and try to encourage and to excite people to speak in life in a world that is filled with so many different things. I am just wanting to say to all of you, thank you for joining us. Thank you for doing the replays. Thank you for sharing it with people. Thank you for helping us to get to 500 and 1,000 views and replays. And so it matters, matters, it matters. So thank you so, so much. Thank you for sharing it with people. We are so excited that you're willing to do that. We pray that the content really is a blessing to you, that at least you feel some kind of way that it is helping you. Also, we don't want to do this if it's not helping you, encouraging you, and empowering you. We want you to be sharp when you are out in the world system. And so we're grateful for what all of that looks like. Does that make sense? All right. So now that we've got all those wonderful things out, for those who do not know who I am, my name is Dr. Lakita, and I am your host for I Speak Life. I'm also a mental health strategist and coach, and moving into the realm of wanting to do it on a global level, where I get an opportunity to help decrease the prevalence of mental health severities in other countries, and how do we utilize various country systems to create and develop systems that will help people be well. I am a wellness creator. I like to create wellness spaces. There's not going to be a room that I'm not in where there won't be a feeling of wellness. I would like to think that I walk in wellness, because I was so sick at one point in my life as a kid. When God freed me, that was really my cry, that I'd never ever become that mentally ill again, right? And that I would be able to cling to the power of wholeness and wellness. So we are ecstatic that we are here in our full minds, and we are just elated about all of it. And so, are you guys ready? Okay, awesome. So get your pens, because I want us to talk a little bit about this whole concept of trauma beyond the smile. And let me just get my notes, because it's really important, because there's some things that took place, and we want to make sure that we capture all of it. All right. So the conversation dialogue for a few moments that I want us to have is on the subject of trauma beyond our smile. Okay, I want you to just kind of focus in on that for a moment. While driving home last night from corporate prayer at church, the Lord was speaking to me, and I wrote it out, regarding our need, the body of Christ's need, to be able to have our ears and our hearts unclogged from trauma, hate, and unforgiveness. The Lord impressed upon me to share that we must really begin to hear God's voice clearly for our lives in these last and evil days. But we cannot hear God's voice if we have trauma filled lives, if we have unforgiving filled lives, if we have lives that hinge upon stressed out minds and overcharged hearts. It will become very, very difficult for us to hear from the Lord. The Lord impressed upon me to share. This is why we must push beyond the trauma, heal from it, so that our smile is absolutely authentic. Once you and I can get beyond the pain of misplacement of our trust that the trauma has created, then we will be able to heal deeply and will be able to smile authentically in a very, very real way. Does that make sense? So, what the Lord essentially said, and I just read it, is He really, really wants. Now, this message right now is to those who believe in Jesus Christ, who believe in God, who knows that I look. I've got to serve God with everything I've got. I've got to do the Christ-like thing. If you are that person, I am speaking to you. The Lord desires that you and I do not be laden with trauma filled experiences so that we are not able to hear clearly from Him. Does that make sense? And many of us are not hearing clearly from God because of the trauma like experiences. A thought came to me while I was driving last night. Wow, we don't really hear many people talking about that they had a dream, that the Lord gave them a dream, and blah 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 blah, or the Lord gave them a vision or a thought. People aren't really talking about it, and it made me think: could it be because we're so filled and so busy with our lives in an everyday way that we are so far fetched from the process, and we are not being all that God has called us to be. And so I just want us to think about that for a moment. Let's consider that. Are you hearing from the Lord? Or is the trauma experiences that you've had blocking your ability to hear? Are you able to love well and love good? Like, I'm a person that wants to be in a powerful, loving, super sexy, erotic, exciting, fun-filled, godly relationship, marriage. And with that comes the capacity for me to give what it is that I want. Does that make sense? And many of us cannot give what we say we want because the trauma like experiences won't allow us to smile real and completely. Um, and so let's consider this for a moment. What are the things that are going on in your life or have gone on in your life that you know is just hindering the process of you really showing up authentically in your emotions, in your smile, and in your love output? What's really hindering it? Um, and can we talk about that for a moment? Can we have a dialogue about that for a moment? Right? Um, I think we lie a lot. Um, I'll be very transparent. So people often wonder, and although my life is pretty public, and but that love life is pretty private. So since I've been divorced, I have dated. I've had great, great, great relationships. I've not really had any bad like relationships and things of that nature. And they've been exciting and fun and all of that. But coming into this year, I realized I really want that exclusive situation, because before I really didn't necessarily have a need to have that exclusive situation. And let me clarify for all the church folks. I like going on dates and just having fun in that respect, and no sex and things of that nature, but just companionship. Love that. And it worked for me. That there's no sin in that. But coming into this year, last year I had said for 2024 that I really wanted to. Okay, I'm gonna really put myself out there, so I'm gonna not do a lot of that and really want to focus in on what I want. It brings up a lot of things. Am I fully prepared? Do I have any trauma stuff going on? Um, will he have any trauma stuff going on? Lord, uh, deal with his trauma stuff. These are stuff that we've got, because trauma impacts how you love. It impacts how you smile. It impacts how you make love. It impacts how you respond to love. Does that make sense? Trauma impacts the way how we preach. Oh, well, here we go. Trauma impacts how we teach, share. Trauma does so many different things. And if we don't heal from the trauma, then we won't be able to embrace what's on the other side of trauma, right? And we don't want to get with people because we are bonded with their trauma. No, I don't want to bond with your trauma. What you went through as a child, you went through as a child. And I pray that you got healed from it. Same with me. I want the full man that you've become, and you want the full woman that I've become, and not encased in the trauma. Now, saying all of that, will there be some level of residue? Possibly. But we've got to be in such a space that we are evolving all the time, that your trauma can't be beating me up while we are married, if that makes any sense, right? So as we have this conversation, this real conversation about the trauma beyond the smile, we can't get beyond the smile if we don't really look at what's pricking our hearts and causing us to revert back to where we used to be, right? Nobody wants to be in a relationship with someone that every other day there's a reminder of what you had to go through. Nobody wants that. That's the piece you're supposed to take to your therapist, counselor, time with God, and a therapist, so that that's not what's coming out of your mouth every other day in your relationship or in your marital relationship with the person you love. Does that make sense? I hope that that's making sense, because trauma is really deep seated. It is deep seated. And many people don't even know how deep seated it is. You'll start talking about one thing, before you know, you're talking back about your trauma. No, I don't want to talk about my trauma. I want to grow and learn from it, but it can't be the essence of who I am. I want to, does it make sense? And on this wonderful Valentine's Day, I want people to realize that your spouse, your significant other, is much more than where they've been. Where they've been is what creates who they are, and has created a portion of who they are. But how they decide to be is who they're becoming. So we can't hold them to where they've been. You'll have to go back and listen to the replay to understand that. Long and short of it, we don't hold people hostage for where they've been. We let them become, and we embrace them there. Does that make sense? Okay. And thank you guys. I see you guys on here, and thank you guys for, sharing the broadcast. So we just want to talk about, like, making no excuses for holding on to past experiences. Like, we don't have to make excuses for the past experiences. And we shouldn't, if that makes any sense. So let's dial it back for a moment. So let's have a conversation, because I remember talking to this one guy, and very interesting. Um, and this was several years ago. One of the things that he couldn't get over, and he had been married before, was how his wife treated him. And so I was just kind of listening, mind you, where, we were talking and all this stuff. And I was like, okay. So as he's going in about how his wife had did him, I was thinking to myself, is he healed from it? Will we be able to get past it? So I asked the question, you know, with all that you've gone through with your wife, you know, what does that leave for, a woman that may want to go to the next level with you and so forth? Where does that leave her? And the response was, well, I don't know, because I'm still very deeply affected by what my wife did. Now, mind you, what they went through with the wife and all that kind of stuff had been maybe 5, 6, 7 years. So a lot of years. And I get it, because I'm in mental health. I get it. It takes a second. It takes a second. But in my head, I immediately realized, okay, he would not be ready for a relationship, because this is too strongly coming up, right? So my question for all of you is your trauma too strongly coming up? As I take a sip of coffee, is your trauma coming up too strongly in your life? Is it affecting how you trust people? Because trauma affects how you trust people. Trauma creates post-traumatic stress disorder. It creates the inability to be relaxed at the times that you need to be relaxed and to enjoy life. Trauma keeps you on edge. It keeps you hyper vigilant. You're constantly always looking around. Trauma sometimes causes you to misappropriate interactions. Yes. And misread what people are saying and are doing. That's what trauma does, right? And it will for sure counsel out your ability to be spontaneous. Trauma hinders it, and it kind of clogs up your ears from being able to hear clearly. That's why we started it off today talking about why we must, as believers, people that believe in God, make sure that the trauma is not clogging up our hearing and our ability to hear from the Lord, if that makes any sense. All right. So now that you've sort of sat with that, um, are you a person that just feels like, the trauma is just going to be with you for the rest of your life? Are you that person? Are you actively working on those areas? That's the question that I have. Because if you are, great. If you aren't, I'm telling you, it's going to be a rude awakening for you not to be dealing with the things that really takes away from your creativity, your ability to care authentically, and all of those wonderful things. Does that make sense? And so the last sort of piece that I want to be able to share with us, and to be able to look at a couple of things. So let me go back to my little notes here. I'm going to so I'm going to go to my little notes. So, okay. So the last little piece that I want us to talk about a little bit, and this piece is this. This is what I really want you to understand, that when you and I pray that, my transparency doesn't put people off or whatnot. I just know that at the time and the age that I'm in, and the way that God has sort of grafted all of us, particularly, I am sold out for Jesus Christ. I love the Lord. You can come to my house. What you see is what you get. I'm going to always be uplifting, always be a prayer person, always be consecrative, always be in obedience to the Lord. I oftentimes think that when it comes to real hard issues and difficult topics, that we skirt around the truth, and we're not really that truthful about different things, whether it's about relationships or love things or whatever. And I wanted us to have this conversation about trauma and going beyond the smile, because I think that people are not living their full best life. My endeavor every single day, I am personally living as if tomorrow is my last day. And I've been doing that since my birthday, which was December 2nd. And after the surprise birthday party that my daughter gave me on December the 9th, I drove home thinking to myself, um, you know what? To the day I go into the grave, um, the Lord just put impressed upon me, what would your life, this is what the Holy Spirit said to me, what would your life look like? What would it look like if you lived as if tomorrow was your last day? If you could live that way, it'll change the whole course of your life. That's what I got. And it really has. Because I really do live like tomorrow is my last day on the earth. My level of gratitude is different. My ability to accept hellos, goodbyes, yeses, and nos. Um, my ability to receive um, a flirt from a single man, or it's different. How I entreat my children is different, and so choosing not to. This I said all that to say that choosing not to allow the trauma that has happened in your life, my life, creates a whole different world cycle for you, right? As it should. You can't smile well when you're heavy laden by the trauma of yesterday. And the trauma of yesterday only becomes the trauma of today as we ruminate and we remember it, right? I want to read something that I had wrote down so that people can really understand. The impact of trauma is not so much just about the experience that you were left with. It is the threat. It is the threat to your life and your safety. It is the threat to your life and safety, right? And so trauma threatens your safety. That's why it's traumatic. And it creates dysfunctionality. And I just wanted to encourage all of us to take a moment on this wonderful Valentine's Day to not let the trauma of your past, the trauma of your experiences, let's talk about it. Trauma of maybe bad relationships, that those traumatic experiences don't impede your right now relationships today. Hey, brother, there's a girl, a woman that you want to address. Don't let the trauma of your last relationship hinder you from that. Sis, a man is trying to get your attention and wants to do more than just take you out. Don't let the trauma of your last relationship hinder you from embracing that aspect, right? So, no, don't do it, right? Enjoy the prospect of being whole and healed, but you can't do it if you allow the trauma to continue to be a threat against who you are and what you are. Remember, trauma's design is to also isolate you. So not only does it create a threat to you, trauma also isolates you. It isolates you. Did you hear what I said? Trauma isolates you. It will cause you to go in your head. It will cause you to go in your heart and to pull away. To pull away. Does that make sense? And the last thing I want to be able to share with us as it pertains to trauma and going beyond the smile is this. Your greatest opportunity to show up well is when you show up in truth. I've been divorced for a while. I've been divorced since 2013, so 11 years. Um, I came close to being married before in these 11-year span. And I've had some really great, successful um, relationships. Wasn't too much wanting to go further in terms of marriage. They were really great. May I encourage all of us, whether it's a love relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a business, that we don't allow the traumas that we've had to hinder our smile, to hinder our our heart, our thrust, our life. Does it make sense? I hope so. That it makes sense. That you are open for greater possibilities, that you are expanding your mindset, your thought process. That is my prayer and my hope, that you are, and that you're not allowing trauma to weigh you down to where you can't move well or move at all, if that makes sense. So I hope that you got something out of our broadcast today. We just wanted to come on here to just share with you about having going beyond the smile, and not allowing trauma to hinder you. Don't let the trauma of your life hinder you. If you need help, you can call us. No, really. We do counseling. We do brief counseling, 30 minutes brief counseling. You do 4 sessions, and it really is a game changer. And you've got to figure it out so you're not weighing down someone else's life when they're looking for you and I to show up being big girls and big guys. If that makes any sense, right? And so that's what we have for you today. We are ecstatic that you have joined us on this Valentine's Day. We pray that today has been absolutely fantastic. Um, that all things are good and all things are well and all those wonderful things. And so, if not, and you're feeling some kind of way, I pray that the Lord will touch your heart, your mind, your soul, and your spirit, and that you will have a great day. And if you really are not having a great day, find something on my page to make you laugh. I'm sure you will. Okay, I got a little couple of dance videos on there. Oh, that can hopefully make you excited and feeling really great. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I am your host, Dr. Lakita, on this wonderful I Speak Life, telling you all things, good things, that you might be able to speak the things so that you can have more life. God bless you. God keep you is my greatest thing for you. Until the next time, God bless. Love you guys. Bye bye.